Thank you, Lena. And now I extend a hearty welcome to everyone here on Zoom and here in our temporary quarters while our new sanctuary will eventually grow anew. So welcome to Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We are happy to see you all and hope you are in good health. It's good to be together, and it's great to see so many familiar faces, and maybe also some newcomers. Welcome to you all. Would any of you who are here for the first time raise your hand and introduce yourself? It's not mandatory, but if you do, I'm coming right to see you because I have a very special gift for you. In our work and ministry here at Granite Peak, we use the principles of our mission statement that says, we are a compassionate spiritual community that celebrates diversity, nurtures the personal and spiritual growth of all ages, shares our gifts, promises justice for all, and serves the world we live in. This morning I want to thank excuse me, the many people that helped to make this service possible, our pianist Lena, Martin at AV, and the many Sunday morning volunteers from our greeters, and even Tom, who cleaned the front porch with a carpet sweeper. So, plus clear to the coffee crew. We couldn't do it without them. And now please set your phones and other noisemakers to silent. To learn more about our activities and events of our congregation, you can find information on our website, prescottuu.org, also in a weekly Peak newsletter online, and more information is in our monthly newsletter, The View. A new one comes out next Sunday. Sandra Palacios, our faith development coordinator, teaches our kids ages 5 and up in a building across the street. And she is very imaginative. So. We now begin our service in a Unitarian Universalist tradition of lighting the chalice. And our chalice lighter today is Catherine Marsh. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. We light this chalice, a symbol of our heritage, in gratitude for the beloved community. And now, I'm especially pleased to introduce our speaker for this morning, Reverend Becky Gunn. Becky Gunn is a retired UU minister whose last called ministry was in Bangor, Maine. I bet it was cold there. While Bangor was a beautiful place to live, the mountains of the western U.S. called to her. That's where she grew up. She has lived in Prescott now for almost 10 years. She has become involved in the American Association of University Women and is now the president of the state organization. She's also active in Ollie at Yavapai College, where she is vice chair of the governing council, on the curriculum committee, and chair of the finance committee. And by the way, also facilitates classes. She has also been involved in political activism at the local level, and she loves to read and belongs to 2 book groups. She says she has loved speaking here every few months and looks forward to future opportunities to share her thoughts. I now yield to Reverend Becky.
I'm going to do something a little bit different today with you in terms of the words of gathering. What I'd like you to do is open your hymnal to reading 477. And once you have done that, I would like you to read along with me some words of gathering. Forgive us that often we forgive ourselves so easily and others so hardly. Forgive us that we expect perfection from those to whom we show none. Forgive us for repelling people by the way we have set a good example. Forgive us the folly of trying to improve a friend. Forbid that we should use our little idea of goodness as a spear to wound those who are different. Forbid that we should feel superior to others when we are only more shielded. And may we encourage the secret struggle of every person. As we gather this morning, asking ourselves if we are perfectly imperfect, let us consider forgiving others and ourselves for being imperfect. And our opening hymn this morning is Here We Have Gathered. It's number 360. I would ask that you rise as you're willing and able. Please.
Gathered side by side, circle of kinship, come and step inside. May all who seek here find the kindly words. May all who speak here feel they shall be heard. Our heart's own song. Here we have gathered, called to celebrate with of a lifetime, matters small and great. May of all ages, women, children, men, infants and sages, sharing what we can, sing now together, sing our heart's own song. Life has its battles, sorrows and regrets, but in the shadows let us not forget. We of together know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us as we give, we gain. our heart's own song.
At this point, please join me in saying our covenant. I got a frog in my throat, I'm sorry. Okay, love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth, its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to acknowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Well, as we prepare to take the offering this morning, let us embrace the feeling of connection and community that we have when we gather each week. Let us remember that this congregation and the programs that are supported by your generosity. All right. I'm obviously not perfect. So we also give to the community through the seeds of support and to various community organizations. This month is the community, is a Coalition for Compassion and Choices, and you can find more about it on the back of the order of service. So, half of the offering taken will go to that organization unless you state it otherwise in a check, for instance. We acknowledge the spirit expressed through these offerings. What is given in love is received with gratitude. So. At this time in a service, we like to recognize celebrations and concerns that we deal with. We have 2 bowls of water up here and bowls of stones. So if you wish, please come up and silently put a stone or more into the water, expressing your joy and concern. Your joys and concerns are in our hearts. Now let us sing Spirit of Life. So just one verse. And with this, I yield to Reverend Becky. So.
You have to know that that song is deep in my heart, and it reflects the love and compassion and heart of this community. I feel it when you sing it. I've adapted this reading, very adapted this reading, from a poet by the name of Nancy Wood, who is a Native American. I've entitled it Lesson Learned, Accepting My Imperfections. Why are we here? What lessons do we learn? Our lessons are simple. Whatever life asks, answer with love. What lessons make us wise? Whenever conflict threatens, go forth in harmony. What lessons are enduring? Whatever is taken from you, give back in generosity. What are gradual lessons? Whenever there is a storm, remain a calm center. What are courageous lessons? Whenever there is despair, sow the seeds of hope. What are practical lessons? Wherever there is dryness, go and get the rain. We have learned many lessons, but have we responded perfectly? Have we answered with love and harmony, generosity, calm, hope, or the water of life? We are human, are we not? We may not be perfect, but we are always learning. Our hymn before my message is hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry, and I want us to sing verses 1, 3, and 4. Then we'll continue.
We have right to grow. We have the gift to believe that the living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all this strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found our joy being together. And in our search for peace, may we will find, may see, even to question truly is an answer.
Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which in heaven is perfect. Those are the words I heard often after I visited a Mormon church one Sunday when I was 7 years old. I walked alone from my home where my parents were sleeping off their Saturday night partying. I knew I needed some stability, and I found it there in that church, and throughout my young life until I left graduate school. Perfection, or near perfection, was required for achieving the highest level of salvation. I don't know the statistics now, but just before I left the faith, I knew that Mormon youth had the highest suicide rate of any religion in the United States. I never heard any discussion about this in church, but I intuited the reason. Being perfect, trying to be perfect, trying to save oneself was deadly serious. It was impossible to be perfect. How much pressure was put on us young people who were inculcated with the idealism of perfection only to fail often. Not failing in committing major sins, but failing in living a normal teenage life. Breaking rules, asking questions, disobeying. A friend of mine, a young man who went on a Mormon mission, and typical of young men, he liked spending time with girls. While on his mission, he was teaching a young woman about the Mormon faith, but he was alone with her. He wasn't doing anything untoward, yet he broke a cardinal rule for missionaries. You will never be alone with anyone of the opposite sex. He was sent from home from his mission in disgrace. His family was not supportive, and less than a year after he returned home, he committed suicide. He no longer felt worthy. He had not been perfect. He had not been forgiven by others or by himself. I was raised by two alcoholic parents. In order to maintain peace in our home, I had to never make a mistake. I never could talk back. I had to be perfect. Was I? No. I tried, but I failed, as inevitably we all fail. I was human, as are all of you. This need to be perfect bled into every aspect of my life. I had to be the perfect Mormon. I had to be the best student. I had to be the best friend. I had to be the best granddaughter. I simply had to be perfect. This led to an obsession about being perfect. I had to be in control of my life. I was addicted to perfection. I happen to believe that many of us are addicted to perfection, each in our own way. Our society is founded on achievement, on creating a more perfect union, to rising to flawless leadership. Pressure is put on us at a very early age to not make mistakes. We need to please, and in order to please, we need to be perfect. Failure is not an option, which we all know is a piece of bunk. While in seminary, in my early 50s, I read a book by Marion Woodman entitled Addiction to Perfection. I, by then, was well aware of my need, hence obsession with trying to be perfect. I read the book hoping that it might help me understand that obsession, perhaps assisting me in becoming a woman who could accept my imperfections and lessen my inner critic. Woodman's book explored the psychological traps and societal pressures that drive individuals toward an unattainable ideal of perfection, of flawlessness. The book emphasizes the importance of embracing imperfections and cultivating self-compassion in order to achieve wholeness. Vulnerability and authenticity are key to dismantling the harsh inner critic and fostering deeper connections with others, but also with yourself. The author emphasizes that we can navigate our way from perfectionism to self-acceptance. One of the first aha moments I had as I was reading the book are the sources of my need to be perfect. I've already mentioned both. It became clear that my dysfunctional parents and my religion were the sources. They reinforced one another. While I may have known this, I kept it hidden from myself. It felt ungrateful and shameful to blame one's parents and the religion that gave me stability for my addiction. But to begin to understand the whys and move beyond my need for perfection, I had to consider the source. I knew being raised by alcoholics could be harmful, but I felt that I had developed ways of dealing with this by being strong, by not giving in. What I had not acknowledged is that the internalization of shame and blame, which led to self-deprecation, had been covered by a mantle of supposed strength. How many of us cover our shame, our self-doubt, our sense of not being worthy or good enough with a patina of self-assurance or strength? And underneath that patina is a less than accepting sense of who we are, what we accomplish, and that we are loved in spite of our flaws. I lived most of my life until I was in my 50s believing that underneath it all, I was not worthy. Why? Because I was flawed. What I learned is that I wanted to feel like I was good enough. I wanted to feel ordinary. Just ordinary, just having a life filled with everyday purpose. I didn't want to have to be the best, to be perfect. I wanted to be my best me, not the best in the world. Why am I being so personal here? Most of you know me only through my messages that I've delivered here, and you don't know my background, and you really probably don't need to know that. So why am I being personal? I'm being personal because we need to be open about our addictions, about the fact that ordinary, everyday people have issues, compulsions, addictions, and that if you see what someone has gone through, you might recognize that you or someone in your life have had similar experiences. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. Instead, I want to be a resource, someone who may open your heart and your mind, not only to your own issues, but to those of others. To me, this is a very spiritual issue, and it is grounded in the prospect of self-love. Self-acceptance for who I am and who you are allows you to recognize that you do have meaning, you do have purpose. You are striving always to be your best self. The truth is that you have made mistakes and will continue to do so because you are human. You will learn to be even better through those mistakes. You will know that you are okay even with your imperfections. The question is, how do we get there? How do we accept our flawed selves and then continue not toward perfection, but self-acceptance, a belief that we don't need to be perfect or even striving toward perfection? If we do this, it doesn't mean that we don't strive to be our better selves. It means that we accept that we fail at times and learn lessons. And through those lessons, through those failures, we don't diminish our sense of self. We begin this process of acceptance through reflection. This process would be different for each of you. Reflection first begins with removing our walls, our protective walls, to find our true self. We look at how we have found safety in the veil of delusion that we aren't worthy of our own respect. My method was through journaling, asking myself many questions, to which I tried to respond with self-compassion and clarity. Others may try meditation or doing something creative like singing or pottery or sewing or whatever, drawing art of some sort. Maybe you can have a discussion with friends about your self-doubt. One dear friend of mine told me to stop reflecting on my failures, but look at what I have accomplished and how I have positively impacted the lives of others. That was a shocker for me because I'd always been focusing only on my flaws, not on my constructive efforts. I think we need to be intentional about this. Be looking for your authentic self. I absolutely believe that everyone is capable of seeing themselves not in the spotlight of public success, but in the spotlight of one's true self. you will recognize yourself and appreciate yourself. In doing so, we become more open to our innate gifts. Another part of this process is self-forgiveness. Many of us were taught that we need to forgive others the bad things that they have done to us so that we can move on with our lives and not dwell on the negative. How many of us were taught that we need to forgive ourselves for our mistakes, for missing the mark, so that we can move our lives towards self-respect and self-love? Self-forgiveness, again, begins with reflection, but moves toward examining how we have held on to the negative, the blame and the shame. Most of us, even if not addicted to perfection, are addicted in small or large part to holding on to what we should have done, blaming ourselves for what may well have been out of our control. For instance, for years, I blamed myself for not being the best kind of friend for a fellow UU who was a dear friend who committed suicide. I felt such guilt for not really knowing and understanding her psyche. How could I not have known? When my mother tried to commit suicide and I interceded to prevent that, I did not feel guilt for having done so, but I felt guilty because I believed that I may have been a part of why she tried to commit suicide. What could I have done differently? But to move on, I had to forgive myself, not only for what I did, but for what I didn't do. The only way I could really move forward with my life was to accept my culpability and learn from my mistakes and know that there were issues beyond my control. I had to forgive myself so that I could love myself. And that is also a way that I can more openly love others and then receive their love as well. Will I ever be truly in recovery from my addiction to perfection? No. As with all addictions, it's an ongoing process. I still want to be a good leader, seeking always to respond to all issues perfectly. I still want to facilitate classes at Ollie's in a perfectly open and thoughtful way. I even strive to write the perfect sermon. I do not always succeed. I doubt myself. But on those days when the meeting has gone awry, I try to take the time to reflect and consider what went wrong and learn and then apply what I've learned. I truly believe that each of us contains what some call a spark of the divinity. That we are born with the ability to love deeply, to have compassion, to defend others against the wrongs in our society, to have empathy, to grow in wisdom, to have hope, and to believe in possibility. Sometimes we dampen those sparks by focusing not on those gifts, but on how we aren't perfectly utilizing those gifts. No, we'll never be perfect. We are human and hence we're flawed. But we can always know that if we treat ourselves with kindness and respect, we can pursue our gifts of love and care and compassion and honesty and advocacy and creativity. And we can be perfectly who we are in all of our goodness. So be it. Our closing hymn is number 318. We would be one, and I ask, as I didn't ask in the middle hymn, to rise and help us sing this as you are willing and able.
We would be one as now we join in singing our prayer of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community. We would be one in bidding for tomorrow, a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
Answer with love. Live in harmony and with generosity. Be calm. Sow seeds of hope. Center yourself, knowing you are worthy of love and respect. We are flawed, but we can be our best selves by forgiving ourselves as well as others for their imperfections. Go in peace, return again in love.
Thank you, Becky. And now we come to the conclusion of our service by extinguishing the chalice. Please say with me, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again, right here. So, and now you can turn your noisemakers back on. And the coffee people have prepared our goodies, so go forth and congregate.